Bingo. Guys, sorry about that. I was on mute. I've been talking all this time trying to work out these little kinks because I connected my camera up to this black A10 Mini Pro, and I actually had the audio going through there, but then I was trying to use this microphone right here, and then I just realized that I had the little button on mute. So that's why you guys couldn't hear me. So David, thanks for making that comment there, because on my end, I saw everything was working just fine. But let me just check. Let me just double check. Is it working? Yep, it's working. So, welcome to my live stream about be a student of Aikido. And that doesn't mean like be a student of Aikido, but it does mean be a student of Aikido. And really, I'm kind of talking to all those people that are taking Aikido, or even if you want to take Aikido, if you're thinking about taking a martial art, it's the same thing. Plus, what I really love about the martial arts and particularly Aikido, which I've been doing for the past 30 years, is that there's so many lessons that you can take out. You don't really need to be taking a martial art to benefit from these lessons, but you can definitely, even listening to this chat, you can get a lot out of it because you can apply this stuff to your daily life, which, going back, has a lot to do with the Japanese culture. Now, let me step back for a minute here and just tell you a little bit about my life. Like when I was at Boston University, I started taking Aikido classes with William Gleason, which the name of his school was Shobu Aikido of Boston, and it was an awesome dojo. It was a lot of fun, but there was still like inside of me, deep inside of me, there was still that, I want to get good. I want to get really good. And then which sparked a desire to go to Japan, because as I was training in Aikido, I was actually majoring in sociology and economics. I think I had a minor in economics and a major in sociology. And then sociology is the study of society. So then, as I was really training in Aikido and I was really getting into it, and I was studying sociology in college in Boston University, I started kind of putting those two together and realizing that the society has a huge part to do with the martial art. And I felt like, hey, I'm studying Japanese in America, but am I really going to truly understand Aikido, a Japanese martial art that is being taught by an American in America? Am I really going to understand it? Am I really going to master the art? And that was that little spark. So I jumped on a plane. I went to Japan. It's a lot more complicated than that, but I did a study abroad program through Miami University, Boston University, and Sophia University, Jochi Daigaku in Tokyo. And I did that on purpose so that I could train at the world headquarters in Tokyo, Japan. I was pretty lucky. Everything just kind of fell together pretty amazingly because the school was actually pretty close to the world headquarters, which the school also had a club, Sophia Aikikai, which is a university club of Aikido. So I was a member of the World Aikikai Tokyo. And then I also became a member of a third dojo, which was called Suginami Aikikai. They used to train in Ogbo in a kind of like a YMCA, a community kind of, what do you call it? A community workout place where it's designed for the community. And they would have classes there Saturdays and Sundays, sometimes Wednesdays. And then I would go to Hombu Dojo Monday through Friday. And then the Sophia Aikikai class, I think it met 3 days a week during the day. And I would go to that too. So I was like really soaking up all this Aikido training and just to be able to master it, just to really, like I said, in Boston, I had that spark that I really wanted to learn Aikido. So I went to Japan. And then while I was in Japan, I really began to understand that the Japanese martial art of Aikido has a lot, the society, the culture, and the religion is just so integrated into it that a lot of the stuff that we're learning through Aikido is really, you're kind of learning the Japanese culture. And that goes deep into the Bushido, which is, the way of the warrior, which the samurai kind of developed, which is a huge part of the ethics of the integrity of the loyalty, of the perseverance, that spirit of um, continual improvement, which also, if you're like a business major or studying business, you've heard of Kaizen, which is the Japanese companies implement this. How do you call it? It's kind of like this procedure of Kaizen where they continually try to improve every single day, just a little bit, and you really see that in their products, and you see that in their business practices, and it's really cool. But it's also a huge part of Aikido, and kind of like why I'm doing this live stream, which is like be a student of Aikido, which kind of goes into understand Bushido and Kaizen so that you can continually improve and continually get better just a little bit. If you can get just a little bit better, and and by the end of the year, you'll have improved a lot instead of trying to really become a master overnight. And that's a huge, I think that's a huge part of the American society where, I met a lot of people that once they thought in America, of course, they get their black belt and they think they're a master, and even the instructors here in America, which is really interesting. That guys, I'm not like putting you down or anything, but I've experienced a lot of instructors that feel like they are masters and they walk on the mat like they are the top dog, and if you do anything, they're going to hurt you. It's kind of like it's kind of funny. Let me get some water. So, which contradicted a lot to what I experienced in Japan. Like in Japan, these guys that had been doing Aikido their whole life, 50, 60 years, and were really, really good, but they didn't act like they were masters. They got on the mat and they were like a student. And it was really impressive to me. Like, I remember I met this one guy, his name is Kato Hiroshi, and his Aikido was amazing. And I would go every Friday night, and he was just a student on the mat. And then I would get to train with him, and his whole attitude was like he's just a student learning Aikido. And he would say, like, attack me. And he would say, attack me harder. And he would say, like, attack me harder. And then he would throw me harder and throw me harder. And then and it was exciting and it was fun. And it wasn't like I'm better than you and I'm a master. And I really, really appreciated that kind of a relationship and that kind of training, which, kind of funny. I come back to America and I go to a dojo, and I'm not going to name the dojo, but it was a dojo somewhere. Was it in Texas? I think it was somewhere in Texas. And I must have been like, I think that day I just wore like a white belt because I had forgotten my belt or something like that. And I ended up training with the instructor of that dojo, and he had the worst attitude, and he was trying to put me down. And I was like, oh my gosh, what is this guy doing? Well, he's a total dip. And I was trying to be very respectful and not, kind of like get angry and just throw him on the ground. But I did, like, he did these, and this is the thing, right? If you're a new student to Aikido, I hate to say this, but there's these higher level people that understand how to stop a technique. It's like they're not really attacking you; they're just stopping a technique. And I think this gets in the way of like being a student of Aikido. Like, you need honesty, and that's, by the way, a huge part of the Bushido culture. The way of the warrior is honesty, and truth is a huge part of it. And you get this higher level guy that wants to instigate and kind of protect this pecking order, right? Because in Japan, there is a pecking order, but there is no pecking order. When you walk on the mat, there's no real pecking order, right? That's what I experienced. There's a few assholes, but that's different. That's a different story. Now, but then there's the people that they'll attack you, but they're not really attacking you. So they're now not being very honest. And what they're really doing is they're kind of honing in. They understand the technique. They understand how it works, and they're stopping the technique. And once they do that, they kind of are just telling you in a psychological way, hey, I'm better than you, and I'm going to stop you from doing the technique, and I'm going to show you how to do it. and that's how they create this hierarchy, which I think is a total. It's it's a it's a great way to stop the progress of actually learning, because now it's just I'm above you and you're below me, and I'm going to show you how it's done. But I really don't know how it's done. Really, honestly, that guy doing the technique and just stopping you from doing the technique doesn't really know how to do the technique. And I remember, like sometimes I would meet people like that, and then I would just because I've been doing martial arts my whole life, since it's kind of since 5, so I have a really good understanding of what's going on. And I remember this one guy doing that stuff to me, and I was like, okay, let me do it to you. So I started doing it to him, and he was like, he was trying to show me, okay, this is how you do it because you didn't do it right. And then he's starting to show me, and then I'm stopping him from doing the technique, and then he starts getting really pissed, and then he starts trying to hurt me. But at that time, I was very young, very strong, and it was a little bit difficult to hurt me. And then the guys ended up never wanting to train with me again, which is a blessing, because I really don't want to train with people like that anyways. And that goes back to my initial conversation of being a student, right? So hold on one second. So I've got this awesome caption here that I want to throw up here. So I've got right there, right down there. Oh, I'm doing this right. Yeah, right there. That's cool. Bushido, the samurai code of honor in Japan. So if you're a senpai, so you got this senpai kohai system, right? And the senpai is the person that's above the kohai. So it's like a senior, junior student. And if you're a senpai and you're stopping someone from doing the technique, that's a little not being very not honor driven, right? So I'm calling you out. So again, Bushido, promoting loyalty. I'm just reading this off the screen so you can read it with me. Promoting loyalty, courage, respect, and self-discipline. It guides ethical behavior, emphasizing duty and honor as key principles for living with integrity. Isn't that beautiful? I mean, wouldn't that be beautiful to live like that? And that's one of the beautiful things that I love about Aikido, because I'm trying to instill and practice these ways of living into my life every day, every time I get on the mat. And I love that. So I'm going to leave that on the screen a little bit if you want to read it a little bit more. Hey, and if you have any questions, or if you want to throw something in the chat, do it, man. I've got the chat right here. Look, I can even pop it on the screen. Bam, you see that? I think you guys can see it. Look, David was nice enough to say, you can hear me. Thanks, David. I appreciate that. I think working out the kinks, having fun with these live streams. But I really plan to do these live streams once a week. I want to do them once a week because to open up a dialogue with you guys. I would love to kind of interact with you and chat with you and have a good time. Let me know if you're studying Aikido. Let me know if you want to study Aikido. Let me know if you have any questions about Aikido. I've been doing Aikido for more than 30 years. I think it's like 1991, 1990. Did I start Aikido in 1990, 1991, something like that? And we're in 2024. Man, that's a long time. But so I've got a lot of experience, and I'd love to share it with you guys. Oh, hey, Sean, what's up? It's great to see you on my live stream, Sean. I'm here. Sean is one of the strongest dudes I've ever trained with. He's got this incredible strength that was really, really hard to do techniques. And, going back to being a student of Aikido, training with people that are stronger than you, that can really put in an honest attack, helps you learn Aikido and helps you understand how you have to move. And that was like, I always had this strong belief that actually women learn the techniques faster than men because women don't have the same kind of strength as men. And when a man attacks a woman, she has to do the technique. She can't really fight with strength. Now, with us as guys, like I get someone that's a little bit weaker than me, and I can start using my own strength instead of actually trying to understand how to use the other person's strength. I'm making you blush, huh, Sean? That's funny. Hey, Sean, guess who I talked to today? Was it today? No, yesterday I talked with Don Ramirez. I went over to visit him at his work yesterday, and Dawn. So just let me take these captions off. One of the exciting things about my dojo when Sean was there way back like 20 years ago is I had a few students like Sean, Don, Sonny, and that were incredibly strong. Like Sonny would come into class, like he would do like 500 push-ups before class, and Don was like a huge kind of like he looked like a bouncer. He still looks like a bouncer. Like he's the kind of guy that when you're going to a bar, he'd be standing at the door and he would just like pop push people out that he didn't want in there. And we would train so hard, and we were on the second floor, and we would shake the building. We were attacking each other and throwing each other so hard. But then, and that goes back to being a student of Aikido. Like guys, my connection has been lost. So this is a little issue. I'm gonna put this in the chat. Okay. So guys, I'm back on, right? Uh, so my internet here is not very stable, so you might see me kind of freeze up sometimes. It's something I've been trying to work out with Xfinity. Now, Xfinity, they don't really have a very good internet service, and I've had the guys come out several times over the years to try to fix this, but it does. My internet signal is not consistent. So every once in a while, if you see me freeze up, I'm still here. I'll let you know before I'm signing off. So stick around. So now, where was I? We were talking about honesty and being a student of Aikido. And and of course, you also have to blend in with your own level of physical fitness. But putting that aside, you have to develop honest attacks, very honest attacks. And what does that mean? That I mean, like last night, I was in class and I had a student that was attacking me, and like his strike was like probably 5 inches away from actually hitting me. And I was like, hey man, that's not that's you're not striking at me. You're like too far away. You're like if I'm here and the strike is right here and he's stopping right here, and I'm like, okay, you can't stop there. That's not an honest attack. Would that really happen on the street? So you have to get used to having those honest attacks so that you can actually learn the techniques. Now, that's like a basic requirement. And you don't actually have to hit people, but the attack has to be there. And if it's not there, it's not, you're not really learning anything. You're just kind of going through the movements and kind of like dancing, and which goes into a little bit of the side of Aikido that I'm not really into too much, but when the person attacking is just throwing themselves instead of being thrown. So there's a difference. There's I take ukemi. Like if you do an Aikido, you know that ukemi means like to receive the technique, or to get thrown or be thrown or throw yourself, right? But there's the ukemi where I throw myself, and then there's the ukemi where the person doing the technique throws me. Um, I'm like more into the camp of the ukemi throws the person versus I throw myself. Now, I remember when I first started Aikido, some of the higher ups would tell me, hey, you need to throw yourself or you're going to get hurt. That's not really Aikido. That's more like Aikijutsu. And that's more like you get someone in a joint lock, and if they don't throw themselves, it's going to like tear their ligaments in their wrist or their elbow or their shoulder or something like that. And to me, that's fun sometimes. I mean, it looks cool, but it's not the Aikido that I prefer to learn. Okay, so now we got that out of the way. So be a student of Aikido. Oh dude, I want to put this caption up because I put this caption up to I worked on these things. Okay, Aikido. So you kind of got, you're gonna see that. Look at that Aikido right there. Now, this is a definition that I pulled off the internet. Modern Japanese martial art focused on harmony, blending with an opponent's energy, and using joint locks and throws to neutralize attacks without causing harm. It emphasizes defense, balance, and inner peace. And that's like a really really short little definition of Aikido, but that's kind of like breaks it down. Um, if you don't know what Aikido is, study the history. If you're taking Aikido, study the history of Aikido. There's a lot of books out there. I remember I did a video on all the books that I've, not all the books, but a lot of the books that I've read. It's on my channel somewhere deep in there. And I listed a whole bunch of books, but there was a really, really good one called Three Budo Masters. That was an excellent book. But definitely, if you're going to be a student of Aikido, read a lot of books. Every book that you can get on martial arts, on philosophy, on Buddhism, on Shintoism, that helps you understand what Aikido is, and being a student of Aikido. It really helps you out with that. Uh, when I was in Japan, one of the things that because I was studying sociology, and I remember as I was getting my major, I would go to the library, and all I would do was read books on martial arts, on Buddhism, on meditation, on Zen, on Taoism, and anything that I can get my hand on. And I would just start, like, I would go to the Jochi Daigaku library, and I would just start on one. Like, I'd go to the philosophy section. I'd pick one book out. I'd read it, put it back, next one, next one, next one, next one. I was like reading all the time and experiencing the Japanese culture. And that's a really important part, because being a student of Aikido, it's like you got to realize that the game is mental. Like 90% of Aikido is mental, it's philosophical, and then 10% of it is physical. But then that doesn't mean you shouldn't be physical, right? Like, I mean, like, I get my students and we do, like yesterday, I did 250 push-ups, but that's nothing compared. This is one guy on YouTube. He does 2,000 push-ups. Now that's intense. I would love to do Aikido with that guy. Maybe I should, man, that would be great to have him on my channel. He's in LA. Oh, I got to show you guys this. I got to show you this. I'll show this to you guys. Let me see if I can pull it up real quick. I'll tell you guys, the point is to be very physical. Being a student is read books. Don't just go to the dojo and train for an hour. Read books. And then your training should be super, super intense. 2,000 push-ups. I got to show you this guy. He's got a short. No, we got to do the short. Here we go. Okay, let's share this. Let's share this real quick. Man, this guy has inspired me. Let's share this. Push-ups, 2,000 nonstop push-ups. I can share this with you guys. And let's hide the chat. I'm going to hide the chat. Okay, guys, check this out. Wait, let's end this. Okay, you guys ready?
So you asked for the raw footage of my 2000.
What?
My rules are very simple. I'm either going to be holding an active plank position, or I'm going to be doing push-ups, but I'm not going to be falling on my knees, and I'm not going to be resting like this in a downward dog. Five more, guys. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
What's the hour count?
That's it, 2,000.
2,000 push-ups. Now that is like being a student of Aikido. I would love to do some Aikido with this guy. That would be intense. I'd love to get to that point, doing 2,000 push-ups. He did it in 2 hours, nonstop. I mean, just imagine doing a plank for 2 hours. That's intense. Boy. Okay, so let's go back. So if you have any questions, please drop them in the chat. Let me know if you're enjoying this stream, if you're getting something out of it. I hope you get some value out of this, especially if you're a student of Aikido. Let me know what this means to you. Yeah, and that's another thing. What does being a student mean to you? Because it's not just Aikido, right? That's something that you can. I've got this this motto that I say that on all of my videos that I do for my channels. Like, that's something that you can take out of the dojo. And so being a student isn't just about Aikido. Whatever you do, being a student of that is like so important. So let's say, okay, like for example, I do YouTube videos. That's what I do for a living. And I go into other people's offices and I film them, edit them, put them up, do the thumbnails, do the titles, do the descriptions, do all that stuff. And then continually learning how to get better at that every single day. If I can get a little bit better, then I've done a great job. If I can get a little bit better tomorrow, then I've done a great job. And so I've been doing videos for, gosh, I started film school in 2005. So pretty long time. And I do these, the live streams that I do for this one company, Oak Harvest. Those are a lot of fun. I mean, I got when I first started doing those live streams, I think I only had like one camera, and now I'm using 4 cameras, and I've got the whole setup, and it is a lot of fun. And that's just continually learning how to get better at this craft. So let's say you're a doctor. That's important, man. Always. And professionals have their, I think their CE credits that they have to complete every year. Whether you're a financial advisor, or you're a doctor, or you're an accountant, or you're a lawyer, the culture of that stresses continual learning by forcing you to do these CE credits every year. But then, I mean, does everybody really take that in and try to learn something and become better, or are they just taking those CE credits because they have to? And then one of the things that you take out of the Japanese culture and of Bushido and of Aikido is you're taking that on yourself. You're not being forced to do that. That's called like self-discipline, and you are trying to get better on your own because it's something that you want to do, and you're continually trying to learn and improve. And then now, and that goes back to what I was saying earlier about, the black belts. Like I found like the black belts in America think they've mastered, they think they're better, right? They think they're a master. And when I was in Japan, like I remember them telling me getting your black belt doesn't mean anything except that now you can start learning the techniques. So they would tell me, in Aikido, especially at the world headquarters in Japan, you've got 5 ranks. It's 5th kyu, 4th kyu, 3rd kyu, 2nd kyu, 1st kyu, and then Shodan, black belt. And then those 5 cues that you're getting is just like, you're just kind of progressing, learning to walk. So you're like learning to crawl, learning to stand up. Then you're learning to walk. Then you're learning to kind of jog, and then you're learning to run. And then when you get your black belt, then you're ready to start training. And then in America, it's like, because when I started Aikido here, it was like, it would take people like 5 years to get a black belt. And then after those 5 years, they think they're a master. And then in Japan, I mean, you can kind of technically here really stress it. It's not such a big deal to get a black belt, because the big deal is like continually improving a little bit every time, every day, and every year. And the rank is not important. And that's kind of, I guess that's the nice thing about like the hakama, because you wear the hakama and you can't really see the belt, but when you train with the person, you can feel their technique, right? And that's a big thing about being a student. Yeah, so I think we have reached the 30-minute mark. I just want to make these 30 minutes. Thank you for joining me. And if you have any questions, leave them in the chat, or leave them in the comments below. I hope you guys like this video, and I'm going to try to do these little talks once a week, have a live stream, and hopefully opening up a dialogue with you guys so that we can chat over the internet, and I can ask questions, I can answer questions, I can ask questions, and I can kind of interact with you guys. But well, and have an awesome evening, and I'll see you next week. I'm gonna try to do these Thursdays at 7 p.m. All right, and then I even have like I set up these nice. Look, check this out. I got this nice little. See you in my next stream. Stay tuned. Oh, and then I have a ticker too. Here we go. Show the ticker. Stay tuned for Aikido Insights. Subscribe to my channel. Don't forget to hit the notification bell so you never miss a live stream or an upload. I haven't uploaded in a while. I will start uploading again pretty soon. I've got a great topic. As a matter of fact, this topic, that being a student of Aikido, I think I'm going to turn it into a long form video and do some nice editing, talk about more deeper philosophy of Bushido and Kaizen. Kaizen. Oh, by the way, look, check it out. I even did a little definition there for Kaizen, a Japanese philosophy focused on continuous improvement through small incremental changes. It encourages constant learning and the refining process to enhance quality of life. Now that's something you can tell, Joe.